State officials seek justice for victims of financial scams.
And in Pembroke, people come together for a good cause.
These stories coming up on Carolina News Today.
Carolina News Today is brought to you in part by the Wing Company of Pembroke, serving award-winning wings fresh, not frozen. Live entertainment weekly, 703 West 3rd Street in Pembroke. 10% discount for students and teachers every day. TheOriginalWingCo.com.
A UNCP faculty member will take home a $12,500 cash prize and a bronze medallion. Professor of Nursing Cherry Beasley is one of 17 recipients system-wide of the Award for Excellence in Teaching from the UNC Board of Governors. She was the first female Native American in North Carolina to receive her PhD in nursing. The Faculty Awards Committee on campus said her portfolio and letters of recommendation from former students were excellent and that the award was long overdue. Pembroke's BOG winner is usually the winter commencement speaker.
An on-campus organization, the Residence Hall Association, celebrated their new office space this week. The attendees enjoyed food and there were also giveaway raffle prizes. This was a big deal for RHA because they will now have a central location for their executive board to meet and work. It's a place for residents to come express concerns and improvement ideas for the residential communities. Associate Director of Residence Life, Cynthia Redfern, opened up the ceremony. Director of Housing and Residence Life, Preston Sweeney, also made remarks. Following them, Advisor Jaquela Lyons thanked people who made the office possible. RHA President David Brown praised the growth of the organization.
Special needs kids from local schools were on campus this week for a Sports Empowerment Day. Volunteers from the Office of Community and Civic Engagement hosted a baseball game for the youth and awarded medals to help boost their self-esteem. It's an annual event that helps get the students involved for a fun, physical activity, while the college students get an opportunity for service.
The community came together to walk for a good cause. Multiple sclerosis is an autoimmune disease and currently has no cure. Diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2009, Rhett Locklear passed away in 2014. His family put together an End of MS Forever walkathon in Pembroke Saturday. About 50 people participated in the walk, and they raised over $3,200. The funds will help pay patients' expenses at the UNC hospital.
Some students think they have to get off campus for fun, but we know otherwise. Here's what's happening this week at UNCP.
Looking to do something fun, but don't think there's anything cool on campus? Get ready for this week at UNCP. There's a lot going on campus between March 31st and April 6th, including a series of free concerts and recitals from the Department of Music. That's not an April Fool's joke. F to the R to the double E, free, so make sure you check out these events. If you're interested in learning about strolling like an alpha or being Miss Black and Gold, stop by the UC on Friday between 12 and 2. You can learn about the scholarship opportunities for the winners and all the details you'll need to compete. On Friday night, the Miss Omega Sci-Fi pageant takes over GPAC. Doors open at 6, so stop by and check out the pageant and show your support. On Saturday night, head over to Moore Hall for the ASO African Night Concert. I'm not exactly sure what the event is, but let's face it, chances are it's going to be a fun time. It starts at 6:30. On Sunday, Moore Hall is home of the senior recital of baritone Christopher Hunter. It starts at 7:30. Music majors work really hard on their recitals, and you'd be surprised at how many truly talented singers are on campus. It costs you nothing but time to show your support to your fellow Braves, so why not check it out? Moore Hall is busy this week. On Monday at 6:30, the musical theater presentation of the Fannie Lou Hamer story hits the stage. Who is Fannie? Well, I guess you'll have to go to Moore Hall to find out, because I'm not telling. You want special? You want awesome? Then you'll want to head over to GPAC on Monday at 7:30 for the UNCP Department of Music and the Air Force Band Live in Concert. It begins at 7:30. Our military is home to so many great bands. We're lucky to have the Air Force playing on our campus. Finally, the UNCP Chamber Ensembles concert is Tuesday night in Moore Hall. Where else? Am I right? The concerts begin at 7:30 and, as always, is free. Make it a romantic evening by bringing someone special. And that's what's going on this week at UNCP. If you're looking for more events, go to calendar.uncp.edu and check out all the activities happening on campus. Until next time, I'm DeAndre Pledger for this week at UNCP. Now I know my ABCs.
A Pembroke man is in jail today with his bond set at $100 million. He was arrested and charged with selling drugs to Purnell Sweat High School students. According to the Robisonian newspaper, Juan Cristofaro Barron led deputies on a chase. They caught him with 500 grams of marijuana, a gram of cocaine, and more than 600 pills. North Carolina laws calls for elevated penalties for selling some types of drugs near schools.
Instances of the flu virus in North Carolina have started decreasing, but the virus is continuing to spread, leaving more than 100 people dead. According to the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, there have been 126 deaths since flu season started October 2nd and 24 deaths during mid-March alone. The agency says these are some precautions to keep you from spreading the virus if you get it. Wash hands frequently with soap and water or an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Cover coughs and sneezes with a tissue, and then discard the tissue promptly. If you are sick, stay home until you have been fever-free for at least 24 hours.
Heroin use and the misuse of pain medications nationwide is an epidemic. These opioids can kill. 4 North Carolina cities rank in the top 25 worst cities for opioid abuse. This week, Governor Roy Cooper met with healthcare professionals and law enforcement to discuss the state's response. Cooper's budget proposal seeks more than $12 million to address this opioid crisis. The funding would help provide mental health services such as a group or individual therapy. Local law enforcement agencies would share $2 million to fight the illegal trade.
The North Carolina Department of Transportation honors military families and 12 North Carolina cities to get grants for bicycle planning. Here's this week's NC-DOT Now.
Welcome to this week's edition of NC-DOT Now. I'm Robert Broom. Portions of NC-24 will now be known as the Gold Star Highway, following a dedication ceremony that was held on March 18th in Fayetteville. Secretary Jim Trogdon spoke at the dedication held at the Airborne and Special Operations Museum. The 165-mile Gold Star Highway connects North Carolina's 2 largest military installations, Fort Bragg and Camp Lejeune, through Harnett, Cumberland, Sampson, Duplin, Onslow, and Carteret counties. The Gold Star is a symbol that honors military families whose loved ones lost their lives serving our nation.
My hope is that our citizens who travel from this day forward on NC-24 and their families will see these signs and reflect on the meaning of this sacrifice.
NC-DOT installed 12 signs along the highway, including 2 at each county line, as a reminder of the service and sacrifice of North Carolina's Gold Star families. In other news, the department has awarded grants to 12 North Carolina municipalities and 1 county for bicycle and pedestrian planning. The recipients can use the grants to implement strategies that expand facilities, programs, regulations, and services in their communities. Since 2003, the Bicycle and Pedestrian Planning Grant Initiative has awarded over $4.5 million to encourage safe walking and cycling throughout North Carolina. Learn more about the grants and the Division of Bicycle and Pedestrian Transportation at ncdot.gov/bikeped. And that's all for this week's edition of NC-DOT Now. As always, you can keep up with us on social media, Facebook and Twitter. That's at NC-DOT. And from all of us at the North Carolina Department of Transportation, safe travels.
A company is required to refund more than $377,000 to student borrowers. Claiming they could reduce a borrower's student loan debt, Student Loan Group illegally charged large upfront fees and failed to perform services. The State Attorney General Josh Stein announced this week that the lawsuit against them has been resolved. They are required to refund the money to the 377 borrowers.
Criminal investigators in the state have recovered $11 million for the victims of an insurance scam, including the victims of Robeson County. 2 retired insurance agents have been convicted of 6 counts each of obtaining property by false pretense. According to the Department of Insurance, Milton Hicks of Rocky Mount and James Magnum of Tarboro preyed on senior citizens. They got them to move money from 401k accounts and life insurance policies into other annuities. The men made more than $600,000 in commissions, but also laundered money from some investors for their personal use. The judge gave Hicks and Magnum suspended sentences and a plea agreement because the victims will be repaid the money, $11 million in all. UNCP golf breaks a school record.
And Braves softball snaps their losing streak.
Deja Dykes up next with sports.
A rain delay at the beginning of the Sunoco Campbell Oil Classic had no effect on the Braves earlier this week, dominating the 54-hole tournament. 6 Braves earned top 25 finishes as Pembroke came out on top. This is the second title of the season for the Black and Gold, who beat out Division I Bucknell. At the event, the Lady Braves made program history, earning a final score of 908, which is 17 strokes from the previous record. Freshman Katie Flax fired a final round score of 73 to become the second freshman in UNCP history to win an individual title. The Braves will travel to St. Augustine, Florida next month when they compete in the Peach Belt Conference Championships. In track and field, the men's and women's team continued to have successful performances, placing second at the Florida Division II College Challenge. The athletes once again set personal best times or marks with a total of 17. For the men, Corey Jones took top honors in the high jump and long jump. The women's squad also climbed to the top of the podium in the 4x100 meter. The Black and Gold racked up 43 top 5 finishes and grabbed 9 event titles. Braves will travel to George Mason and High Point, where the teams will split to compete in the Colonial Relays in the Vert class meeting. Coming off their impressive win over number 1 ranked North Georgia, UNC-Pembroke baseball clinched its 5th victory in their last 6 outings to cruise past Barton 26-3. The Black and Gold set the tone early, scoring 3 runs in the first. The Braves went scoreless in the second, but gained momentum to edge their lead to 14-3. The Bulldogs were limited to 3 runs in the 5th before becoming scoreless in the rest of the matchup. The Braves scored multiple runs in 7 different frames to produce the most runs since 2007. The win saw 5 Braves record 3 or more hits. After UNCP baseball's 3-1 record last week, freshman Jared Mobley earned PBC Player of the Week honors earlier this week. Mobley hit 9 for 15 with 2 home runs. The freshman also scored 10 RBIs and 5 runs while grabbing a pair of bases and registering a perfect fielding percentage in non-defensive chances. More recently, Mobley was also named Hitter of the Week. The Braves will travel to Georgia this weekend when they play Georgia Southwestern. The softball team played its longest game inning-wise since 2011 last weekend, falling to PBC foe Flagler in the sweep. This was the Braves' 18th loss of the season, which marked the longest losing streak in program history. And now, the Lady Braves have snapped that losing streak, beating Fayetteville State in a sweep. The Broncos couldn't score a run off the Braves, which left the visitors scoreless in each matchup. The Braves will be back at home this weekend when they play Francis Marion. The Final Four is set for this weekend's tournament with 2 Carolina teams on the schedule. The South Carolina Gamecocks will make their first Final Four appearance in school history, playing against Gonzaga. The Tar Heels will continue their redemption tour after falling short in last year's tournament when they play Oregon. South Carolina will also make an appearance on the women's side when they play Stanford. UConn will make their 10th straight appearance in the tournament, seeking their 5th consecutive title. The Huskies will be playing against Mississippi State, and that's it for me. Back to the studio.
Thanks, Deja. That's all we have time for.
Thanks for watching Carolina News Today.